I get emails from time to time asking what are the best tools for a beginner carving puppets, and as you can see, over the years I've collected quite a large number of tools. I started off by carving rocking horses, and I was also doing some bigger furniture pieces as well, restorations and those sorts of things. And so I collected a lot of these full-size tools which are made by File. Very, very nice tools, good quality steel, keep a really nice edge, possibly the best carving tools you can buy. That being said, they don't necessarily suit the style that I've developed, that's evolved, or some might say devolved, as I've become working on puppets. My last 10 to 20 years has morphed into puppet making entirely, and these full-size tools aren't necessarily the best for the style that I've developed. So I've moved from rather being able to work on large pieces that are clamped in a vise or you're able to get round in 3 dimensions. I've worked now with smaller pieces which I like to have in my hand. Obviously I still use a bench hook from time to time and are using the tools that way, but I like to keep, particularly when I'm doing heads and faces, I like to keep the piece I'm working on in my hand so I can look at it from different angles easily. I can spin it around, work on it from different angles. This is difficult when you've got it clamped down or in a vise. Just it's time consuming to move it, to reposition it or whatsoever. So if you've got it in your hand, you can spin it around, you can look and work on it the way you want. So it's more of a chip carving style that I work with now. So with that in mind, I decided to give some different tools a try, and I found this company called Flexcut, which make these types of tools. This is the set I bought for the workshop to start with. It's one of the bigger sets. You can get quite a lot of blades. You get 2 different handles. You get a wooden handle and the plastic one, and you get a knife and a strop and some compound, all that sort of thing. Quite an expensive set all round. They do cheaper sets, and the set we're going to be using for our puppet making from now on, certainly with the basic projects, is this set, which is the Craft Carver set, which is 10 blades. You get the quick change handle and a tool roll, along with a practice piece of timber, a bit of basswood, so you can practice some relief carving. So I've got one of those myself as well, which I use when I travel around. So if I ever go places and want to do some carving when I go, so I take this because it's nice. It comes in this tool roll, so you can easily carry all your tools with you. Now I'll just show you these. So you get lots of different blades, so you're not paying each time for a handle, you're not paying for excess steel, you just pay for the bit you need and this handle. So each of these blades are interchangeable with this sort of rubberized plastic handle, which fits very neatly into your hand. So now when I'm working in my hand, this tool fits much better, it's much more controllable. The steel's very good. They're called Flexcut because they have a bit of flex to them, and I was a bit unsure about that to begin with. I didn't know whether I'd like it coming from tools that were completely rigid, but having worked with them now for the last few years, I really think it's good, and particularly for beginners I think it gives you a bit of feedback, tells you when perhaps you're digging in too much or you're doing the cut wrong, you're trying to force it. It gives you that little bit of feedback. As you progress more with your skills, you can actually use the springiness to your advantage. We'll come to that later on in the tutorials if that ever crops up. But I've been very, very impressed. So these are the tools I use, and for the price of maybe 3 or 4 of the bigger full-size File tools, you'll get all this range of tools for your use. They do also do a set, that travel set. Occasionally they do an offer where you can get a knife included as well. These knives, very, very good quality again. So I do a lot of the actual work with knives now. Up until using the Flexcut, I only had one carving knife and I didn't tend to use it very much, but now I find I use carving knives actually quite a lot. probably as much as the tools. So I would say 95%, 99% of my carving time now is using these tools. I actually don't go back to the full-size tools very often. Only occasionally when I've got a lot of material to remove, maybe using a mallet, will I go back to some of the bigger tools. Or if there's a profile that I haven't got, but that is very, very rare, because most cuts, shapes you can make is with just one tool. So that's really what I've been doing for the last few years. Now, if you go to flexcut.com, you can find dealers or distributors near you. I sell them through my Company of Marionettes website, but we really only ship to the UK or nearby European countries. We can do some of the nearby countries. It's just not worth us sending outside really of Europe, particularly to the States, because they're made in the United States, so there's no point us sending there. You'll be able to find a local dealer there. But if you are UK or perhaps one of the closer European countries, then we do have some good value prices on there. Otherwise, go to flexcut.com, find a dealer near you, and if you want to follow along with the projects that I'm doing, then this set, this 11-piece craft carver set, is the one we're going to be using when we're starting our Pinocchio project, and will be what we're using for the foreseeable future. Would be, if you can afford it, also get yourself one of the knives as well, because we'll probably be using that a fair bit as well. So that's it for the moment. We're going to carry on and do our Pinocchio puppet. So if you haven't already joined, you can hop along to the Patreon. The link will be in the description below, and you can join in and we can be building a Pinocchio marionette.